Hello, Virtual Doll Convention. We are here with our miniaturist, the wonderful artist Stan Gregg. Hi, Stan.
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hi. We are so good. Thank you for inviting us into your wonderful home here and your studio.
Oh, glad to have you.
Yes. So, Stan, this is your studio where you do a lot of your work. Is this where you do most of your work up in here?
Yes, pretty much my craft room that I build everything in. It used to be downstairs in the living room at the coffee table because I'm a movie buff, so I'm always watching movies while I'm building stuff. So.
Yes. So you have been involved in the miniaturist field for many years. Stan, how long have you been
I'm guessing
doing this?
maybe 8 years.
Yeah, so not that long, actually.
Yes. And I think I only started selling maybe 5-6 years ago with the miniature show. So, and it all just started because I took a few houses into their exhibit room and they said, you should sell these. And okay, I'll build some more. And it started from there.
I love it. So what made you think one day, I'm just going to build a miniature house?
I was always been fascinated as a little kid the little house process, building stuff with my hands, and then as an adult I thought, well, I can build it cheaper than what you can buy a dollhouse for. It's more of the hours and labor that goes into it that you don't recoup your money back out of it, but it's a love of labor because my even though I may build a big house like this, that I don't usually make my money back from it. I love building the houses, so it's more of an addiction.
Yes.
It's not a money maker. So.
No, it's not a money maker, but it does wonderful things for your heart and for your mind, and you do amazing work, which is why we're here.
And this is the new Psycho house.
Psycho house.
Yes, because I get inspired by pictures.
Yes.
Same as the Bates, the Bates Motel, the show, the Psycho house on the hilltop, and I pretty much created this house just from this picture. And then I would find other little pictures on the internet of how to create, like the top window. So then I would create the top window from here.
Look at that.
Just from the little picture. Same as the skirting around the porch. I would find a little picture on the internet of what the original house looked like to try to make the skirting. They're not perfect pictures, but it's my interpretation that inspired me. Same as the staircase, a picture of how to do the steps. And then I would draw it all, sketch it all up, and then just start making the windows from scratch out of cardboard.
This is incredible. Do you have a background in architecture?
No, I don't. Actually, that was my dream growing up in high school, was going to college and become an architect. But of course, I dropped out of college and went to work at the gold mines. So.
Yeah. Well, you're an amazing architect now, and it is so fun for us to be here. There's a lot of people that really, who doesn't enjoy miniature, something on a miniature scale?
Oh, yeah, because it takes you to another world and keeps your mind going and creativity going. So. And it's very relaxing for me. So if you've had a bad day, you can, or something bad's happened, you can get your mind off of it. So.
And you can come and create. So Stanley, the outsides of your houses are absolutely incredible, and that's kind of what your wheelhouse is, but you also decorate them in incredible ways as well.
Yes, so I'm always looking for stuff that's on sale, because I feel that when I'm creating my houses, I want the person that buys the house to have it fully furnished. They're fully electrified, lamps, plug-ins, everything you can imagine. That's why I hit every yard sale that I can, every estate sale that I can, to buy some of it's really expensive furniture, but I would get it for nothing.
And you get it. Yeah.
So a house can technically have $500 to $600 worth of furniture in it, but I did not pay that much. But so the person's getting the house the way I feel it should be decorated.
Absolutely.
And then they can redo it the way they want.
All right, guys, we're going to pan up. We're going to look at some of Stan's wonderful creations here in our video, but I'm just giving you guys a little sneak peek right here. So, Stan, you have a very creative spirit, but in between the miniature shows, you spend a lot of time alone in your studio. What kind of challenges do you face as an artist when you're here and kind of doing your thing that you think other artists might identify with?
There's times that I'm not inspired at all.
Right.
And I can go a couple weeks without thinking of anything. So I'll be on the internet playing, looking at different photos of houses until I find just the perfect one that might inspire me. And I think, I've got to create it. And pretty soon, 20 hours later, I've been creating and haven't stopped. And that's why I can get my houses done so quick, because once I do get inspired, I can have one done in about 40, 50 hours, and I won't stop. But it's that lack of creativity, or if I run into a problem like I did on the yellow fantasy house here, I made a mistake and added too much greenery to it and glue that it took me a whole day just to think about how to undo the mess that I made. So that was, and then how
and
to
you must have felt
paint.
very frustrated.
Yes, and I was even posting on Facebook with another miniature website. Help, I don't know what to do. Does
Right.
this look good or bad, or I overdid it. So, I even look for advice all
Right.
the time.
Absolutely. And have you received wonderful advice?
I have. I'm a member of the Cat's Meow. I think that was the miniature club, and love all the people on there. They're great, and I like to learn new techniques from them, or even teach people. I've had people that privately message me asking how to build houses, and I'm more than open and willing to share. Most miniaturists don't want to know their secrets. I'll tell anybody how I build my houses. So.
Well, and that's your secret to success, because nobody can do it like you, and that's okay. We can all do it like how we do it, and a candle doesn't lose its flame by lighting another candle, and by you sharing, it inspires more, and that's what we want.
Yeah, and that's what I live to inspire, and that's pretty much what I end on my little blog that I have with my houses. I live to inspire other people, because you can create anything from nothing.
Right.
I believe in creating junk, or creating stuff from junk.
Absolutely, and making it into a treasure.
Yes.
So we're going to look at some of your wonderful treasures that you have created. Stan Gregg works on these treasures all year long, and then he exhibits at the Denver Museum of Miniatures fall show. So, and that is coming up in a couple weeks. So we asked if we could come and see his wonderful houses before the show. So it is so exciting to be here. Stan, where are we going to start today to look at some of your creations?
Okay. I call it my
this one right here?
castle, and I was inspired by the picture, of course, of the castle here.
So this is a real house. They're almost all real houses.
This was a blueprint from the 1800s of a house in San Francisco, and it inspired me to create this house. It's not a complete match, but it's my interpretation of the house.
That's amazing.
Same as the windows. I found one little picture on the internet of this little window, and I thought, I'm going to carve that. And so I made it out of paper, and then I made a mold, and then made plaster windows. So technically all of this originally was just cardboard, and then I used some paper mache and formed the windows, and then made a mold out of it, and then plastered and made the plaster windows from it.
Just amazing. So you use a lot of inexpensive materials, but Stan, you go by Stan. I keep calling you Stan.
That's fine.
Your houses, they look so expensive. They are because of the craftsmanship that goes into this. So it proves you don't need expensive materials to make a wonderful
these
product.
Are the floor. Excuse the dust. I haven't dusted them yet. But the floors are popsicle sticks. I get them at the dollar store.
Look at that, popsicle sticks. Amazing. All right, so we're going to start at the top. You have your little attic up here where they have this is a playroom, kind of sew room. It has its own miniature house. My favorite is the food. It's just
it takes me a lot of time to collect that at the shows every year. So I sell at least 2 houses just to be able to go spend the money at the miniature show to buy all the miniatures for the new houses.
It's wonderful. It puts the money right back into the community. I love the electrification. That is so cool.
You.
How did you figure that out?
Well, I used to only do the tape wiring, and I've evolved as I've grown, because tape wiring, I can show you here that most people are familiar with tape wiring. You tape it around the base of the wall. Then you have little plug-ins that plug into it that actually come undone really easy. And I thought, I don't want that anymore. I've heard of issues. So now everything in my house is hardwired. So I use electrical wire. Every house has the plug-ins. They're built in through the walls.
Oh, how cool.
To where everything's either underneath the floorboards or in the walls, to where nothing comes loose now. So it's like a regular house, electrified, to where you don't have to worry about the plug-ins coming undone. And then every house now has the breaker box underneath the houses, to where they can plug in more electrical lines if they wish. So I've come a long ways to where I'm learning more as I go.
You are, and every year you do something different and up the ante on your craft and your ideas.
Yes, and I try to go, but same as this one, this next house was inspired by a tree house picture I found online. And again, it's not a perfect match, but
it looks perfect to me. I'm going to pull out so you guys can see that.
I could not stop dreaming about it all night long. I thought, I've got to build this. How can I build the base? And it all started with the base of the tree. And technically all it is a couple one by one boards or pieces of wood that I had metal L brackets, screwed it down to the base, and then this is just all paper. All the paper mache that I make into a clay mixed with glue, and I just start pushing it on to make it look like a tree.
Wow!
And then the house went on top of that, and then again, like all my houses turn into pretty much cement when they're done, because the paper mache that I mix with the glue makes it a very heavy-duty house to where you could technically drop it and not break it.
Just fantastic.
I can turn this one around for you.
Look at all the moss, everybody. I just love the moss and the little accents. What is that moss made of? Can you buy moss?
It's from the miniature train stores.
Okay.
So it's like the landscaping that they use for the miniature trains.
Look at the little houses up here in the attic. It's just so perfect.
Oh, and my first attempt to try to make a wingback chair. So.
Oh, I love it. It's so whimsical. And are they having a wedding? Is that a wedding cake?
Yeah, I found some wedding cake at one of the shows. So I try to throw food in every house.
I love the mantle with the oranges and the pot of soup cooking on the stove. Everywhere you look, there's something happening, which is what I love about your work. Here we go into the next room. We have the fresh squeezed orange juice. Look at the orange right there.
I believe the house should be messy. And of course you can see things fall off the wall. Everything in my house is museum waxed down. So everything's movable. So you just have to sometimes it gets too warm in the house to where things drop off the walls. So everything's held in place with museum wax to where it can remove easily and clean easily.
I love it. Oh, it just makes me so happy. Doesn't this just make you so happy, guys? Does this open? Is this openable?
Oh, yeah. This is a hidden area. This is where my power box is.
Oh, okay.
So this is where I hide my electrical lines.
Look at that, everybody.
So every house has a hidden area to where the breaker box is, to where they can actually add more wiring to it, more plug-ins, more lights, anything that they wish, or if a fuse blows. So and then I just try to hide everything to where you don't see it in person.
Love that one. Oh. Fantastic.
And this next one is
and these are quite large. Look at stand next to it, everybody. So they're about 3 feet tall.
So, yeah,
3 or 4 feet
they're
tall.
not very heavy, which makes it a challenge for shipping because, like, even if it's 12 pounds, which normally would cost you $20 to ship, because of the height, it's like $200 to ship. So I only usually sell at the show. A lot of people get offended by knowing that it's over $200 to ship.
Oh, I'm not offended. If people understand, then they it's fine. And your houses are so affordable for what you do.
And this was my next inspiration. This was a fantasy painting I found online of it looked to me like a miniature dollhouse. And I thought, I'm going to recreate this. And literally, I just had to create it. So this, and then I decided to antique it. I figure if it's in the mountains, the paint's going to be peeling off. And
look at that. That is so realistic. I just can't get over how do you do that? I mean, you don't have to tell us now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, you get that question a lot, I'm sure.
You know, and like the windows on these were scraps from the Denver Museum had a miniature yard sale this past summer. And there's this horrible dollhouse that's on the ground over here that it's this thin wood that they use that it splinters, and so it was I wasn't going to build the dollhouse, so I took a lot of the pieces from it to create my own windows from it.
It's fantastic. It's wonderful to repurpose. Did you create that little, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this window right here, there's a crack in the glass.
Yes.
It's just so realistic. It's amazing.
I try to.
Now we get to see the other side. Okay, let's see if we can change the light here so you guys can see it. Oh, how fun. Again, there's always something happening, books on the floor, things that have spilled. I just love
I believe every house should be that way. No house is perfect.
No, you don't want to. Your houses look real, and that's why we love them. It's because they're so identifiable.
and pretty much most of them can still fit in pretty much anybody's home. So, you know, they don't take much room up and they're lightweight. Where most dollhouses are usually 3 and 4 times the size of these.
I love this kitchen. Oh, look at the little potbelly stove,
when you start
everybody.
thinking, I think in miniature almost everywhere I go. If you look at these, this is from the dollar store. You go in and I look at the plants at the dollar store, the flowers that they have, and I thought a big bushel. But if you look as a miniaturist, just the little berries that are on them turn into like fruits and vegetables.
Look at that. Yeah, you can totally...
Because this is like little round balls that come off of something at the dollar store, a flower arrangement that you can just pry off, and they look like food when you're done.
And it's all about how you kind of arrange it. I'm sure you kind of have your miniature dar on all the time.
Yes, it never shuts off. And of course, I think this is my favorite. This was the brick mansion that I created.
All right,
and this one I did last year at the show, and this again is just my interpretation of the house.
This is fantastic. Look at that. Now, is this a house? Where would a house like this be found?
I believe this would be found in San Francisco.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like San Francisco.
I almost didn't want to sell it. A lady made me an offer last year at the show, but I didn't want to take it because I think I've never kept one of my houses. But this one I absolutely fell in love with because this probably has 80 hours worth of work into it, from all the bricks and everything's paper mache. But then I spent, I think, a week alone just making all the plaster windows and all the little architectural details out of plaster, and still trying to make it really lightweight.
Do you make all of the bricks one by one?
I make my own. I create my own little stamp that I have out of nails.
Cool.
So I can show you in a second. But yeah, I create anything that I can. I used to do it by hand, where most people will do a knife and just like carve it. But my paper mache is a 1/2 inch thick, so I have to do a stamp to make it quick. But still, it may take me 8 hours to do the whole thing. And I don't usually stop. So. Yeah, if I were to do it by hand with a knife, it would probably take me days and days.
Look at the doorway. I love the light. Oh my gosh. Have you ever been contacted by movie sets?
I actually had one gentleman that was doing, what do you call it, live animation, where they moved slowly and wanted me to reproduce one of the houses. But he didn't like my price, even though it was a really low price.
Right.
He thought he could just build the set himself. So,
right.
But I would love to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you'd be perfect.
I think
for
the
that.
mansion is one of my favorites. I think it's got some of my most expensive pieces in it.
All right, we're working with the light here.
My friend Laura Crane at the miniature store or miniature shows make the flower arrangements.
Look at that.
And that flower arrangement there alone is probably a fourth the cost of what I sell this house for.
Oh, really?
But I traded her my houses for some of her artwork and stuff, because she does wonderful little miniature furniture pieces, like the blue chair and stuff.
Oh, and that little ship's painting and just all these little touches.
And if you look, you like the dollar stores. If you look at the blinds in there, that's a table mat that you can find at the dollar store, that you just cut up and make into the blinds for the house.
So smart. I love that.
Really cheap, inexpensive ways you can do stuff.
Well, and it's all how you accessorize it and put it together. So you've got a several $100 floral arrangement with stuff you got from the dollar store, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like dressing yourself. You don't have to have everything from designer. In fact, if you do, it almost doesn't look as good. Oh, yes.
And that's why I'm very proud to furnish all the houses, because a lot of people, want to furnish it or put their own stuff in, but I get it at such a good deal anyway, or trade for stuff.
Wow.
That's my favorite thing, is to actually decorate it when it's done, just to how it should look, because most people are going to look at, it's an empty house, why am I going to pay this type of money for it? But so yeah.
And see, I think that your prices are
and again, the landscaping, this is all dollar store.
This
is all if you go to the dollar store, you'll find these exact things in big clumps, but I cut them apart and glue them back together do the landscape.
It's so pretty. Do you shop at Dollar Tree?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the Dollar
Tree. I love Dollar Tree too. So, and you also make these wonderful vehicles. I
had started these last year, and I technically never finished them yet, but like this travel trailer here. Let me move this house out of the way. So this little travel trailer here was just an inspiration from this picture I found. But then I over-antiqued it, I think, with too much rust. So I need to work on it, but you know, the top comes off to where you can get inside.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. The Cheerios on the counter. Let's see if we can move over here a little bit. Oh, look at the stove. You've got the Kingsford and the Coca-Cola. I mean, it's just so much fun.
Oh yeah, and you can print. You can make all of these yourself.
You print those
too.
off the internet?
You print them off the internet and then make them yourself.
And then make them small.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that great? I love it.
So this is just cardboard. It's, you know, same as the little travel trailer over here. It's cardboard
This
also.
travel trailer is fantastic.
And it was off this tiny little picture here.
Picture.
And I was just inspired. Thought I got to create something like that. So again, it opens up into there.
Look at that, everybody. Isn't that fun? Look at the little grill for the inside. You've got some little meat on it already. Oh, look at how fun. It's just, I love the little license plates from where you've traveled. It's just your imagination. You can really do anything, right?
And I could still add a ton of stuff to these, but I think they'll go to the sale shows this year, and I'll just sell them for whatever, because technically my master bedroom closet's filled with stuff, so
right.
I have no room left for anything. So.
Speaking of your master bedroom closet filled with stuff, can we take a peek?
Oh yes, you can.
Okay, everybody, check this out.
This is my spare bedroom. This is just the spare room.
This is the spare room.
Yeah, this is just the guest bedroom, but it's loaded up with the house is ready to go to the show this year. I used to separately box them up to take them to the show, but then you can't find the right size box for any of these. So now I just carefully set them into the car and
just drive slow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. This I wish we could look at all of these up close, but we don't have the space. But you're going to have wonderful. You're going to have a wonderful show, and it's so fun for us to see the creativity and what we just saw. It makes us want to see the inside so bad. This is amazing.
This is my last gnome tree house stomp that I just finished. So it literally, I'm getting a little better with my wood techniques. This one I wanted more moss on it, so it does have a back that opens, where you can take the back off to go inside.
Oh
and
my
it does light up inside, but I don't have the power unit.
Let's see if I can change the light a little bit so we can look at that. Oh, I love it. This is amazing. I notice a lot of miniatures, they don't, you sell them furnished. I mean, it's just like...
And like this house would probably only go for about $650. You know, and by the time you add the labor, electrical, there's no profit left.
Oh no, we know you're not making money. This is a passion, and this is why we're here.
And
because
I can't stop.
It's
just
just
a bad addiction.
I think it's a wonderful addiction because this is so inspirational for a lot of people. If they've never created a house before, where's a good place to start?
Just
get some cardboard together.
I can show you.
Okay, we would love that.
Right now. Oh, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Let me shut this off real quick. So technically, if you were to start a house, what I would do is I would actually start with a piece of poster board from Hobby Lobby. $5.99, cheapest thing you can do. Let's say if you want to match the design of the house, let's say we're going to make this brick mansion here. Let me take that back. Let's go to this house here because I have some windows out. So where I made this castle previously, what I would start is if you've had the windows on hand, is you just sort of try to make it match the picture. So I would lay it out on the poster board and put a window right here.
Oh, that makes sense.
And then to sort of get a rough idea of how tall I want the house to be. You know that if this is 8 inches, that the ceiling's inside is going to be 9 inches. So then that's 2 stories. 18 inches is 2 stories. And then technically I just get my ruler and my pen and I'll just start sketching out. This is where I want the wall. So you figure, the window's here. And that's about 1 inch from the window. So you just draw. And you want 1 inch from the window, you want the door 1 inch over, you center it up, and I just start drawing. I will just then sketch around the door frame and know a rough estimate of where I want it. You can take the door out, then I would just do a really quick sketch. Then I would just cut that out with an X-Acto knife. Then once I have the perfect square done for this main wall, I would cut the square out, hot glue it all together. I actually, per house, most people don't believe in hot glue. I go through at least 100 and some glue sticks per house.
Oh, wow.
My houses are so solid that
yeah.
you couldn't rip them apart. And then there's also a Mod Podge on top of that. But this is how I would start. This is how everybody should start.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Hobby Lobby, a cheap place where you can find a $6 door and a $5 window.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be perfect and doesn't have to match. You just get some cardboard out, poster board, cut it out, hot glue it, and then for your siding, if you want a cheap, inexpensive siding, this is what I buy from Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
It is called drywall shims. And
Drywall
shims.
Shims, okay.
And it comes in stack. And you can go to the sheetrock section and ask for drywall shims. I cut it up into a ton of strips. Usually I have a lot of blisters by the time I'm done. So I have gloves that I wear because usually I cut off the tip of my fingers because I cut so quick. Because like this house had thousands of cuts just for the Psycho house. So then what I would do is technically once your frame's done, and let's say you've already cut out your door and you have this big wall, then I would just start laying on the cardboard. And then so it gets glued in place.
Oh my gosh,
and
this makes so much sense.
And gluing and gluing. And usually I have a whole bunch of burns by the time I'm done with the hot, because I go through a lot of hot glue guns. And so I don't do a fancy job at cutting. Usually there's a straight side for the cuts, because when I cut these in half to make the siding, so yeah, that's pretty much your siding right there. Then it's all hot glued down. Then I paint it. Then more Mod Podge on top of that to make it pretty heavy duty. And then it actually thickens up the poster board and makes it to where it doesn't move. So that's an idea. And then also if you want to make the bricks, this is the paper mache. It's just called paper pulp. And it's dusty.
Paper
and it's
pulp.
Yeah, and you buy it at Hobby Lobby,
okay.
Or Michael's. I mix it with water to where it's like a thick clay, but then I also add a lot of Elmer's glue to it so it sticks to the surface. And then that's how I make all my bricks on my homes.
Wow. Well, that made so much sense. You just took it from these glorious things that I'm like, I don't even know where I would start, to the very, very basics.
And the basics is the drywall shims. The cardboard drywall shims are only about $11.99 for a big stack. And I can do a couple houses out of a stack. So really, you can build a house really inexpensive. So don't be afraid. To me, it's funner building it yourself than paying $300 for a wood doll house that everybody's going to have. You can build your own creation. That's lightweight. This is not even a third of the weight of what a normal doll house would be. So,
yeah.
And I like being able to use your imagination. And same as like these little cups right here. These are mouth rinse cups. You turn them upside down, they turn into garbage cans.
Yes.
So if you want to come in this room real quick,
Yeah.
I can show you. So on this outside landscaping, if it's painted and it's turned into a little garbage can.
Oh man! And just the way that you put in the liner.
Yes.
You kind of rustled it up a bit. It's like, think of how you live in real life.
Oh,
like my liners look like that,
By
and
the
then
time
make
you put it in with the main store and out front, it does look like a little trash can out in front of the store.
Oh, and I love the mail bin. Look at that.
Oh yeah, my little cardboard for reproduction.
Oh, the rooms for rent. Oh man, this is so much fun. Stan, after you've made a house or while you're making one, do you feel like you've traveled somewhere?
I do. And it's a getaway. It's a little vacation for my mind. So this is still my favorite church I've ever built, and it's because I love Christmas. And I had this Christmas ornament of this little church. And I thought, I have got to build this church. So
this church is amazing.
Just built, and I love this church. I should have plugged it in for you.
Oh, you still can. If you want to pull it in here, we'd love to see it. The virtual convention, I hope you guys are just having the best time hanging out in Stan Gregg's studio. He is a Denver, Colorado artist, and I have admired his work. I actually own a piece. It is a Christmas-inspired one that is on display at my shop that I just absolutely love. I can't, we get so many comments on it, and I say, it's Stan Gregg. So we're going to take a look at this amazing church right here. Stan, you built this one off of an ornament.
Yes. Oh, I forgot the ornament in the other room, too.
That's okay.
Let's see here.
Take your time. Look at this, everybody.
every house.
Are these flowers the ones that you got at the dollar store?
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah, I love those.
In this church, I actually did not do pews. I did take this one I had built for last year's show, and the lady that wanted me to did not like the church, didn't think it was a church because it did not have pews, because I made it into a house, like somebody had bought a church and turned it into a house. It was just, pews take me a while, and it wouldn't be cost effective for me to spend a week building church pews.
Right. Well, a lot of houses did used to be churches. Oh wow, we didn't look at the inside of the Psycho house. We're gonna have to do that before we sign off. Oh man, look how cool this is. We're taking a tour of the Psycho house, Stan, so you just take your time over there. This is so cool. I love it. Love the shoes. Love that lace dress right there. Again, everywhere you look, he did extra. So when you look at the suitcase, look, there's a little passport on top of it. When you look at the table, look, right there, if you look really close, you can see a cup of coffee was spilled. And there's a little wine goblet there and some papers on the chair. I love the little key in the dish by the door. You've done a lot of themed pieces too that are like Halloween.
Oh,
and
yes.
I love that little fold-out bed right there.
And of course, we're having technical difficulties with the church. I don't.
Oh well, you just
every house that I build, I forget where I hide the electrical plug-ins.
Well, you've got a lot going on.
So then a couple lights aren't on this one, but I've turned this one into more of a church that somebody's bought and turned into a house. So.
Look at that. Some of the most beautiful architecture in the world are churches, and
Yes.
and whether you're religious or not, you can absolutely appreciate the architecture of churches around the world.
And I think just this church alone took me a day just to figure out how to hand build the doors to try to match the little building. So, and to be able to hide the hinges and.
Of the ornament, there it is. Look at that. What do you guys think? Isn't this just so fascinating? It is just, we're so inspired.
And then this, I think, is just a piece of wood, and then this piece to make the street lamp was a plastic candle holder for a kid's birthday party that you get at Walmart cheap. So I figured I cut it apart and turned it into a street lamp. So there's
love it.
everything I'm looking into miniature at almost every store we go into. So
So fun. And speaking of houses, Stan, you have something very exciting in the works.
Oh yes, we bought a vacation investment home. So I'm in Kansas. It's about 4 hours away. It's a 113-year-old Queen Anne home. So it's like mint condition. So I'm really excited. We're supposed to sign Thursday to get the deed to the house, but so crossing fingers everything goes good. So.
Yes, and we are all so excited for you. And the first question I have is, are you going to make a miniature of it?
I am. I am. I should have brought the picture upstairs because I've been doing research of the historical research of when the house was built in 1906. So I've been trying to find out the builder, Radford Homes, and I mean it's some amazing stuff when you do the history and the research.
Absolutely, the history, the research, the creativity, the talent, the sharing of your talent. Stan, you are amazing, and I have been just following and admiring your craft for many years now. Thank you so much for inviting the virtual convention into your home. I know so many are inspired by this. Actually, before we sign off, we have to look at that one over there because that is another creation you made off of a creation.
Yes.
Right? So this house you bought last year.
Yeah, at an auction. I'm not sure the person, he taught a class on how to build these little houses. And I thought, I love the house so much. And it was good to benefit the museum. So I bought it to try to recreate it in miniature. So the house is almost there, but that's the first project I gave up on. Where that took me longer to reproduce that little tiny house than building 2 big houses.
That is a really good point, though, because sometimes it's okay to give up, right?
Yes.
It doesn't make you a failure if you say, you know what, this is not, I'm going to start something else.
Yes,
That's okay.
You can start something else or start another project, come back to it at another time, and that's my first come back to a project in a miniature house.
And let it breathe.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about, before we sign up, the Museum of Miniatures?
Yes.
And how great they are?
I absolutely love them,
Yeah.
and I wish I had more involvement. I wish they were on this side of town, because they are about 45 minutes away from here, but I'd probably be there weekly.
Yeah.
They're the most open-minded, welcoming people in the world.
They
I
truly
mean,
are.
they make you feel just so at home just to talk and visit with them. So
Yeah.
I look forward yearly to seeing everyone.
We do, and it's a wonderful group. We will post the link to their website and stuff in the video, which you guys can learn more and of course visit, because they have the museum itself has scouted a new location now.
Yes.
So that's all very exciting. A new
Yes.
home for the Denver Museum of Miniatures. So this was incredible, Stan, Greg. We look forward to following your adventures. What is your website and your blog?
Oh, my blog is Gregg's Miniature Imaginations .blogspot.com and then it shows
and we'll put it in the video.
Yes, and it pretty much I try to be as quick as I can posting stuff. Sometimes I get so creative in building my house that I forget to take step-by-step pictures. So years ago I did step-by-step pictures. Now it's just pretty much the finished product, because it's an addiction. I can't stop once I start building.
Right.
So
Exactly. No, you gotta keep on trucking. But your blog is wonderful, and you're always just so gracious. So if you guys have questions, or you'd like to get involved, or even buy one of Stan's houses, you absolutely can through his website and through reaching out. He usually sells almost all his houses at the show, but but you do commissions.
I've sold. I did a couple commissions, and then I've sold a couple through my blog. And on my blog, all you have to do is make a comment on my blog, and it automatically emails me your comment. So if you're interested or need help building a house, I can give you ideas how to build a house with my blog too. So I always email in people ideas and how to do stuff. So.
Fantastic. Oh, Stan Gregg, our first major miniature program at the virtual convention. What a thrill. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.